Most of us think in some way good of older people, often because of great memories with grandparents or friendly old neighbors. But in today's video, we'll see some shocking cases where elderly individuals displayed disturbing and mentally unhealthy behavior. These instances reveal that age doesn't always bring wisdom. Sometimes it worsens things. Let's begin with the first case of Mark Latunsky. Mark Latunsky, an old man, murdered Kevin Bacon cruelly on Christmas Eve in 2019. Now, he will stay in prison for the rest of his life. Latunsky was accused of murdering Bacon and tampering with his body. He received a punishment of life imprisonment with no chance of parole on court day. This happened after he ended Bacon's life, who was just 25 years old. Bacon's family became worried when he didn't come for breakfast on Christmas 2019, and they reported him missing. Clearly, the family knew something was wrong with this situation. His roommate told the investigators that he went to see a man he met on Grindr the night before. This led the investigators to Latunsky's home. Before Latunsky was sentenced, Bacon's mother, father, and sister spoke about how the crime affected them. His mother, Hannah, wrote, "In your sick, twisted mind, you probably don't think you did anything wrong. This Christmas, I hope you suffer like we have." The police shared the information that it seemed Bacon knew Latunsky was part of a violent sexual fetish and that he might have hurt others. After Bacon was killed, Michael Parks, who lives near Latunsky, said he met a man in November on his porch. The man was covered in blood and was knocking on his door. "He's got purple hair, he's wearing a leather skirt, and he's got a couple of belts across his chest," Parks said. "This gentleman is grasping my arm with deathly fear, screaming, 'Help me, keep him away.' Another vehicle pulls in my driveway and out comes. Who I now find out is Mark, wearing a leather skirt, belts across his chest, no shoes, no shirt on, his beard is braided. Very odd-looking gentleman." The Michigan State Police came quickly and brought the bleeding man with them. Latunsky was never charged for that incident to that time. Did you ever encounter older people that scared you or others? Comment it down below, and let's see who else had bad experiences or stories told by friends or family. Next case is as bad as it can get. On a court in Germany, the judge decided that Armin Meiwes, who is in prison for the rest of his life because he killed and ate someone he knew, cannot get out of prison before serving his full sentence. Armin was found guilty of murder and disrespecting the deceased. He's now in prison for life. Normally, in Germany, people sentenced to life can be released after 15 years. However, a court rejected his release. Also, the Frankfurt State Court has refused his appeal. The court stated that all judges, with the help from other specialists, made the right decision by concluding that there's currently no hope for his future behavior. This case went viral all around the world and shocked the community. Meiwes was taken into custody in 2002 for the killing of Bernd Brandes the year before. He claimed that Brandes responded to his online ad seeking someone to be killed and eaten, and that Brandes requested to be stabbed to death after taking cold medicine to become unconscious. Meiwes recorded the murder on video. Comment your thoughts. Is the verdict for this man the right one, in your opinion? We are interested in our viewers' opinion. It's clear that in America, the same court case would end with a different verdict. In 2004, Meiwes was found guilty of causing someone's death and was sent to prison for 8.5 years, but the prosecutors didn't agree with this decision, so they asked for a new trial. The higher-up judges said the first decision was wrong and told them to do the trial again. They said the court didn't think enough about the sexual reasons for the killing. In 2006, during the new trial, he was found guilty of murder and got a life sentence. In next shocking courtroom case, Alex Murdaugh, a lawyer from South Carolina, has been given more time in prison. He's already serving life for killing his wife and youngest son. Court also sentenced him to an extra 27 years behind bars. This time, it's for stealing millions of dollars from the people he was supposed to be helping with legal matters. During a court session in Beaufort, South Carolina, Murdaugh, 55, spoke for nearly 1 hour. He said sorry to the people he used to represent, talked to his son, who is still alive, and strongly denied once more that he committed the murders. "I did terrible things," Murdaugh said at the court hearing. He added, "I did care about each of you, and I still care about each of you." Before he said anything, several individuals who had lost money to Mr. Murdaugh spoke up. They talked directly to him, explaining in sharp words the hurt he caused by keeping financial settlements that were supposed to be for them. Judge Clifton Newman agreed to the 27-year punishment, which came from a deal made by Mr. Murdaugh and the South Carolina Attorney General's office. Mr. Murdaugh has to spend most of the time he got behind bars. Let's find out the details for the murder of his son and wife. The tragic event where Mr. Murdaugh's wife, Maggie, 52, and their son, Paul, a 22-year-old student at the University of South Carolina, were shot. These terrible murders became infamous as the Murdaugh murders. Nobody was arrested for over a year. Mr. Murdaugh had told the police that he found the bodies of his wife and son near some dog kennels at their family's home in Islandton, a small area near Charleston. On the day his wife and son died, he was at home with them earlier, but records show he left around 9 p.m. to visit his mother. He claims he came back home later and found their bodies. However, prosecutors believe he killed Maggie and Paul before leaving, then tried to make it seem like he wasn't involved. "I've been up to it now. It's bad," Murdaugh told the dispatcher. He said that neither his wife nor his son was breathing, and he implored the emergency responders to hurry. "Are they close, ma'am?" Over time, all of his explanations become untrue. Workers at the company discovered checks and other information that didn't add up, revealing that he had taken all the money meant for his clients. This case shows how money and other interests can destroy a family. In following case, a man and a woman made a plan to kill a person who had hurt children and his wife. They didn't seem sorry when they were told they would spend their lives in prison. One of them even shouted, "That's what happens to people who hurt kids." At first, Jeremy and Christine Moody said sorry to the judge and requested also a 30-year sentencing, hoping they could be with their kids and grow old together. However, when Union County Judge Lee Alford gave them the toughest penalty possible, they kissed quickly and then revealed their true emotions. "See you perverts later," Jeremy Moody shouted at Charles Parker's family as he walked out of court. That's what child molesters get. When Christine Moody walked outside the courthouse with chains on her wrists, she spoke to the reporters. "Killing that pedophile was the best day of my life." What happened the day of the murder? The Moodys went to church before. While they were at church, they made a plan to kill the mechanic and anyone else at his house. After church, they drove to the mechanic's house and pretended their car had broken down by popping the hood. When Parker came out to help, Jeremy Moody pulled out a gun and told him to go inside, according to prosecutor Kevin Brackett. Parker and his wife were sitting in their home when the couple came in. They told them they were going to kill them. After this, the situation escalated quickly. It seemed like the couple were ready for quite a long time to execute on their plans. First, Jeremy Moody, who is 31 years old, shot the couple. Then his wife, who is 37, stabbed them. Later, a camera on Parker's property captured them leaving. Deputies recognized Jeremy Moody because of his tattoos, a skinhead tattoo on his neck and a Made in America tattoo on his head. Both Jeremy and his wife were found guilty of murder, kidnapping, and first-degree burglary. Their lawyers mentioned that both Jeremy and his wife went through sexual abuse when they were kids. This made them want revenge against people like those who hurt them. They believed they were supposed to kill all sex offenders because they thought it was a mission from God. A psychologist had the job of looking closely at Jeremy Moody's life and understanding his actions. He shared that Jeremy's tough childhood caused him a lot of pain and trouble. This led to mental health issues and problems that never got fixed. The psychologist discovered that the trauma from his early years had left him struggling with stability in his mind and emotions. After he got caught by the police, Jeremy Moody told them about a paper in his house. On it, he had written the name and address of another person who had committed a sex crime. He said he was planning to kill that person the next day if he hadn't been caught. Prosecutors said the Moody's didn't have the right to decide the punishment for someone who had already served time for hurting a disabled woman. Apart from reading a passage from the Bible and letters from people in their church, the Moody's didn't seem sorry. They smiled at each other during the trial. Jeremy Moody even smirked when the victim's family asked the judge to give him the harshest punishment. When the judge asked Christina Moody if anyone had offered her anything for her plea, she said, "Just fame and fortune." The couple claimed they had killed other people, but the police couldn't find any proof of other crimes, according to court documents. This couple really planned out because of their own childhood trauma to clean the community of all sex offenders. What are your thoughts on this couple? Have you heard about the case of Joseph DeAngelo, also known as the Golden State Killer? Almost all the people who spoke out against the Golden State Killer in court said he was a terrible person, someone they had been waiting a long time to confront. Joseph DeAngelo, aged 74, admitted to committing 13 murders and many rapes, causing fear and harm to his victims during the 1970s and 80s. When a person commits monstrous acts, they need to be locked away where they could never harm another innocent person, Sacramento Superior Court Judge Michael Bowman said. Before he was punished, DeAngelo, dressed in orange clothes with a white shirt, stood up from his wheelchair and took off a white mask covering his face. He spoke to the family members of the people he harmed. Many of them were sitting in the big room. "I've listened to all your statements, each one of them, and I am truly sorry to everyone I hurt." In June of last year, DeAngelo said in court that he did bad things. He admitted to hurting over 50 women and killing 13 people. He also confessed to other crimes that he wasn't accused of. Bowman gave out 11 life sentences without the possibility of parole in a row. He also added another life sentence and 8 more years. The judge mentioned the statements made by the victims and their families in court. "I was moved by their courage, their grace, their strength, all qualities you clearly lack," Bowman told the defendant. "This is the absolute maximum sentence the court is able to impose under the law," the judge added. "And while the court has no power to make a determination where the defendant is imprisoned, the survivors have spoken. Clearly, the defendant deserves no mercy." The victims and their families clapped, showing their approval. Then the masked person who committed the crimes was taken out of the big hall where the sentencing took place. This was done to keep people apart and safe during the COVID restrictions in the country. The person responsible for the crimes, Joseph James DeAngelo, was called different names like the Golden State Killer, the East Area Rapist, the original Night Stalker, and the Visalia Rapist. He did terrible things in California over many years. Last year, DeAngelo said he was guilty of raping more than 50 women and killing 13 people during the 1970s and 80s. He also confessed to other crimes he hadn't been charged with as part of an agreement with the authorities. DeAngelo admitted guilt to escape the death penalty. A person spoke up for their mother, saying that DeAngelo's attempt was pointless. The person said, "Many may want to enforce the death penalty themselves, but can't you understand? The punishment has already been decided. Your whole life has been taken away from you, yet you're too blind to see." It's really unsettling to think about these cases that have dragged on for decades, with people earning infamous names because of their crimes in the cities. You'd expect older folks to be wiser with time, but it's shocking to see them committing such terrible acts. Have you heard about any of these cases? Do you know of any cases we could feature in our next video? If you do, please share them in the comments below. Take a second to write your thoughts down below. Please subscribe to our channel and check out one of these videos. See you next time around. Take care.